Let us begin by finding a comfortable position, allowing your body to settle into the support beneath you. Take a deep, slow breath in and let it go, releasing the tension of the day with a long, gentle exhale. There's nowhere else you need to be right now, nothing else you need to solve. We are simply here, ready to embark on a quiet journey through time and memory. Tonight, we turn our attention to a story that has been whispered for decades. A tale that has traveled from person to person, growing like vines over an old stone wall. It is the legend of the Bunnyman Bridge. But we are not here to frighten ourselves with ghost stories or to quicken the pulse with tales of the macabre. Instead, we are here to walk gently through the mist of folklore, to peel back the layers of fear and fiction, and to find the calm, steady ground of truth that lies beneath. There is a deep comfort in understanding, in shining a soft, warm light into the dark corners of history, and realizing that often the shadows are just shadows. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet road in Northern Virginia. It is late at night, and the air is cool and crisp, carrying the scent of damp earth and pine needles. Above you, the branches of ancient trees weave together to form a canopy, blocking out the starlight, creating a tunnel of natural solitude. You are safe here, merely an observer of the past. The only sound is the rhythmic chorus of crickets, and perhaps the distant, low rumble of a train moving steadily along its tracks. This place is known as Clifton, a small, wooded enclave that feels miles away from the bustle of the modern world. Here, the roads wind and curve, following the natural contours of the land. One such road is Colchester Road. It is narrow, paved with asphalt that has seen many seasons, many tires, many travelers. As you walk along this road in your mind's eye, you come to a structure that seems to rise out of the forest itself. It is a bridge, or rather, a tunnel. An arched underpass made of poured concrete and stone, carrying the single track of the Southern Railway above. The opening is small, only wide enough for one car to pass through at a time. The walls are weathered, stained by rain and time, cool to the touch. This is the Fairfax Station Bridge, the physical anchor of the legend we explore tonight. It is fascinating how a simple structure, a pile of stone and concrete designed for the practical purpose of transport, can become a vessel for our collective imagination. For over 50 years, this quiet archway has been the setting for a story that has chilled the bones of teenagers and travelers alike. The legend tells of a figure, the Bunnyman, a lost soul from a bygone era, haunting this underpass, waiting in the darkness. The story has many variations, shifting and changing like smoke in the wind. Some say he is an escaped convict from the early 1900s, a man named Douglas Grifton. They speak of a prison transport bus crashing nearby, of a manhunt in the woods, of rabbits found mutilated, and eventually of the Bunnyman himself, hanging from the bridge on Halloween night. It is a vivid image, one that plays upon our primal fear of the woods, of the unknown figures that might lurk just beyond the reach of our headlights. But tonight, we are going to disassemble this myth, piece by piece, with the gentle patience of a clockmaker. We will look at the dates, the records, and the reality of this place. And in doing so, we will find that the truth is far less terrifying and far more human than the legend suggests. Let us drift back, not to the early 1900s as the legend claims, but to a more recent time, the 1970s, a time of change, of suburban expansion. Fairfax County was growing, transforming from a rural landscape of farms and forests into a bustling suburb of the nation's capital. Old roads were being widened, new neighborhoods were being carved out of the woods, and the quiet, isolated pockets of the county were suddenly coming into contact with a wave of new inhabitants. It is in this friction between the old and the new, the rural and the suburban, that our story truly begins. It does not begin with a crash, or a murder, or a ghost. It begins with something much stranger, and strangely, much smaller. As we stand before the mental image of the bridge, let the scary stories dissolve. Let the image of the hanging man fade away, returning to the realm of nightmares where it belongs. Instead, look at the bridge as it truly is. It is quiet. It is sturdy. It is merely a passage. The water of a small creek trickles nearby, reflecting the moonlight. The stones do not hold memories of violence. They only hold the weight of the trains that pass overhead, carrying goods and passengers to their destinations, oblivious to the stories told below. The legend of the Bunnyman is a classic example of what folklorists call ostension, or legend tripping. It is a way for young people to test their courage, to visit a place that feels remote and spooky, and to project their fears onto the landscape. The bridge, with its narrow arch and dark tunnel, is the perfect stage for such a theater of the mind. The acoustics amplify sound, making a footstep echo like a heartbeat. The shadows stretch long and deep. It is a place that invites a story. But stories, no matter how widely told, are not always true. In fact, the most enduring legends are often those that have no basis in fact whatsoever, but rather capture a mood or a feeling, the feeling of being alone in the woods, the feeling of being watched, the feeling that the past is never quite dead. We often create monsters to explain the things we cannot understand, or perhaps simply to make the silence of the night feel a little less empty. To understand the Bunnyman, we must first understand that there was never a Douglas Grifton. There was never an asylum in Clifton. There was never a bus crash in 1904. These are the bricks of the legend, and when we tap them gently with the hammer of historical record, they crumble to dust. The archives of Fairfax County, the old newspapers, the court records, they are silent on these matters. There is no record of a man by that name. There is no record of an asylum in that area. The foundational elements of the horror story are, quite simply, fiction. So, if the history is false, where did the story come from? How did a quiet railroad bridge become the epicenter of a local nightmare? To find the seed of truth, we must fast forward to October of 1970. Imagine the world of 1970, the music, the cars, the fashion. It was a different time. In the autumn of that year, in the weeks leading up to Halloween, a series of strange events actually did occur in Fairfax. They were not supernatural events. They were not bloody massacres. They were peculiar. They were bizarre, and they involved a man and a pair of rabbit ears. It is here, in the mundane reality of a police report, that the legend finds its heartbeat, not in the distant past of 1904, but in the living memory of people who are still alive today. The true story is not about a ghost, but about a person who, for reasons we may never fully know, decided to dress up and frighten people. As we prepare to delve deeper into these true events, let the atmosphere around you soften. The bridge is just a bridge. The woods are just trees, resting for the winter. The darkness is not a threat, but a blanket, wrapping the world in slumber. The legend of the Bunnyman is like a heavy fog that has settled over this valley, obscuring the road. But the sun is rising in our narrative, and the fog is beginning to lift. We can see the asphalt clearly now. We can see the graffiti that has been scrubbed away, and the new paint that covers the old. We can hear the wind rustling the dry leaves, whispering the secrets of the past, not to scare us, but to remind us that history is often stranger than fiction. In the next part of our journey, we will look closely at those strange nights in 1970. We will examine the reports, the eyewitness accounts, and the curious incidents that sparked a fire in the local imagination. We will see how a few odd encounters were exaggerated, twisted, and retold until they became a monster. But for now, simply rest in the knowledge that the monster is not real. The bridge is safe. The night is calm. Breathe in the stillness of the scene. The train is past, and the rumble has faded into the distance. The crickets have resumed their song. The air is still. You are standing at the threshold of the truth, and it is a peaceful place to be. There is no hatchet in the dark, only the quiet mystery of human behavior and the enduring power of a good story. Let your mind drift, like a leaf on the surface of a slow-moving stream, carried gently by the current of my voice. We are moving away from the legend and toward the reality. And the reality is a place of rest, a place where we can look at the scary mask, take it off, and see the human face beneath. Stay with this feeling of safety, of curiosity, of calm detachment. The bridge stands silent in the moonlight, a monument not to fear, but to the way our minds wander in the dark. And as we wander together, we find our way back to the light. Let us step softly now, away from the shadows of the bridge, and into the warm, amber glow of history. Imagine a quiet room, perhaps a library at night, where dust motes dance in the beam of a reading lamp. Here, the air smells of old paper and binding glue, and the faint, sweet scent of aging cedar. This is a scent that promises answers rather than questions. It is a grounding aroma, anchoring us in the solid world of facts and records. As we open the heavy, leather-bound book of the past, we look first for the foundation of the legend. We look for the asylum. The story tells us of a dark fortress, a prison for the criminally insane, nestled deep within the woods of Clifton or Fairfax Station in the early 1900s. We can almost picture it: high stone walls, iron gates rusting in the rain, the tragic crash of the transport bus that supposedly set the Bunnyman free. But as we run our fingers over the topography of truth, tracing the old maps of Fairfax County, scanning the census records and the municipal archives, we find a profound and peaceful silence. There was no asylum. There were no prison walls here, no institution tucked away in the trees. The Lorton Reformatory existed, yes, but it was miles away, far removed from the quiet tunnel of the Colchester overpass. The records are calm, orderly, and empty of these terrors. The bus crash, the escape, the manhunt, they are phantoms. They never happened. It is strange, is it not, how the mind constructs a castle of fear where there was only an open field. It is a testament to our imagination, but for now, let that realization bring you comfort. The origin of the horror is a fabrication, a campfire tale spun from thin air. But every legend has a seed, a small, humble grain of truth around which the pearl of myth is formed. To find it, we must turn the calendar back, drifting through the mists of time, landing gently in the autumn of 1970. The air is crisp here, smelling of dry leaves and wood smoke. It is a time of muscle cars and drive-in movies and quiet suburban expansion. The world is changing. The rural woods are slowly becoming neighborhoods, and in this friction between the old woods and the new houses, we find the true source of the Bunnyman. It was not a monster. It was not a ghost. Let us observe the scene, detached and safe, like watching a silent film. It is October, nearly Halloween. A young couple sits in a car, parked on a quiet stretch of Guinea Road. Not the bridge, but a road nearby. They are talking, enclosed in their own small world of soft light and radio music. And then, a disruption. Out of the darkness steps a figure, but he does not float, and he does not howl. He walks. He is a man, dressed in a suit of white, a bunny suit. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? Almost comical. A costume one might see at a children's party or a holiday parade. But in the context of the dark road, it is startling. The man shouts. He is angry. He throws something, a hatchet, through the car window. The glass shatters. a sound that rings out and then fades instantly into the past. He yells about trespassing, about being on private property, and then he retreats into the woods. The couple is shaken, but they are alive. They drive away. The police are called, and when the report is filed, it is not a file on the supernatural. It is a report on assault and vandalism. The Bunnyman was listed as a white male, late teens or early 20s, wearing a white suit with long bunny ears. 2 weeks pass. The leaves turn from gold to brown, falling silently to the earth to blanket the forest floor. We move to a new location, a construction site on the edge of the woods. A security guard, a man named Paul, sits on the porch of an unfinished house, watching the night. And there, out of the shadows, the figure returns. The man in the bunny suit steps onto the porch. He is not hunting souls. He is complaining. He speaks of the property, of the intrusion into the woods. He strikes at a porch post with his hatchet, a gesture of frustration, of territorial anger. He tells the guard that people are trespassing on his land. And then, just as quickly, he vanishes back into the trees. The police arrive again. They search the woods. They find nothing but footprints. No cave, no lair, just the fading tracks of a man who perhaps did not want neighbors. This is the reality. Take a moment to let that sink in. Breathe in the simplicity of it. There was no ancient curse. There was no vengeful spirit. There was only a person, perhaps a prankster, perhaps a disturbed local resident, unhappy with the construction of new homes in his quiet corner of Virginia. The monster was likely a neighbor, someone who went home that night, took off the costume, and went to sleep. It is almost disappointing, in a gentle way. The terrifying specter is reduced to a human being with a grievance and a strange choice of clothing. So how do we get from there to the bridge? The human mind is a weaver. It takes the threads of reality and weaves them into a tapestry that feels more significant, more emotional. The newspapers reported the Bunnyman incidents. The headlines were black ink on white paper, static, silent. But in the schoolyards, and the diners, and the living rooms of Northern Virginia, the story began to breathe. The story was told and retold, and with every telling, the edges became sharper, the shadows became deeper. The man in the suit was too mundane. He needed a backstory. He needed a reason. And so, the asylum myth was born to explain him. And the location, Guinea Road, was just a road. But the Colchester overpass, that stone tunnel we visualized earlier, that was a stage waiting for a play. It was dark, narrow, atmospheric. It looked like a place where a story should happen. And so, like water flowing downhill, the legend gravitated toward the bridge. The incidents were lifted from the construction site and placed gently under the stone arch of the railroad tracks. The Bunnyman became the Bunnyman of the bridge. The hatchet became a weapon of doom rather than a tool of vandalism. The trespassing complaints became murderous rages. We can see the mechanism of fear now, laid out on the table like the parts of a clock. We can see the gears turning. It is not magic. It is psychology. It is the game of telephone played over decades until a grumpy neighbor becomes a mythological beast. Feel the weight lifting from the legend. The heavy cloak of fear falls away, revealing the scaffolding underneath. It is sturdy, but it is man-made. As you stand in this mental library, surrounded by the quiet truth, the image of the bridge changes. It is no longer a trap. It is simply an overpass, a structure of concrete and stone, built to carry trains from one destination to another. The moss on the walls is just moss. The darkness in the tunnel is just the absence of light, nothing more. The Bunnyman has been unmasked, and beneath the mask, there is no glowing red eye, no snarling visage. There is only the faded memory of a strange autumn in 1970, and the enduring human desire to make sense of the oddities we encounter in the dark. The fear you might have felt when hearing the story is real, but the thing you feared is not. You are safe. The bridge is just a bridge. The woods are just trees, resting for the winter. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. The investigation is complete. The mystery is solved. There are no loose ends here, only the soft, rhythmic breathing of a story that has finally been put to rest. We have walked through the legend, and we have walked through the history. We have seen the face of the myth and the face of the man. And now, as we prepare to leave this archive of truth, we can carry with us a sense of lightness. The world is a rational place, grounded in cause and effect. The night outside is still, the library is warm, and you are drifting deeper into a state of understanding and relaxation. The tension of the unknown has evaporated, replaced by the calm certainty of the known. Rest here for a moment in the quiet satisfaction of the truth. There is a profound stillness that settles in when the last page of a mystery is turned. It is the feeling of a weight being lifted, a heavy coat unbuttoned and slipped from your shoulders, leaving you lighter, freer. The story of the Bunnyman Bridge, which once loomed so large in the imagination of the local folklore, has now been dismantled, piece by piece, fact by fact. And what remains is not a monster, but a landscape, a quiet, unassuming corner of the world that is simply existing, breathing, and resting under the canopy of the night. Let your mind wander back to that spot on Colchester Road, but see it now through this new lens of understanding. It is no longer a stage for horror, but a sanctuary of quiet infrastructure. Visualize the tunnel itself. It is made of stone and concrete, materials of the earth, cool to the touch and solid against the bank. The archway is not a mouth, but a frame. It frames the gentle curve of the road, the drifting leaves of the oak and maple trees, and the soft, silver light of the moon that filters through the branches. If you were to stand there now, in the safety of your mind's eye, you would hear only the natural symphony of the Virginia woods. You might hear the rustle of a squirrel settling into its nest, or the distant, rhythmic hoot of an owl calling out to the darkness. You would hear the trickle of the creek, the water moving over smooth stones, washing away the debris of the past, flowing endlessly toward the sea. The water does not know the legend. The trees do not know the fear. They only know the seasons, the turning of the earth, and the peaceful cycle of growth and rest. Above the tunnel, the train tracks still run. They are a symbol of connection, of travel, of the rational world moving forward. Imagine the sound of a train passing overhead in the distance, a low, steady rumble that vibrates gently through the ground, a lullaby of steel and motion. It is a comforting sound, a reminder that the world is working as it should, that civilization is humming along, orderly and safe. The train passes, and the silence returns, deeper and more profound than before. The shadows that cling to the edges of the woods are just shadows. They are not hiding places for anything other than the night itself. They are simply the absence of light, cool pockets of air where the dew begins to form on the grass. As you visualize this, feel the tension in your own body mimicking the dissipation of the myth. Just as the legend has dissolved into the clear water of truth, let any remaining tightness in your muscles dissolve. Let your brow smooth out, as smooth as the stones in the creek bed. Let your hands rest open and loose, empty of any need to hold on, empty of any need to be on guard. We have looked into the dark, and we have found only history. We have found the misinterpretations of the past, the way rumors spiral like smoke, and we have cleared the air. The air is fresh now, crisp, like an autumn evening, filling your lungs with the clean, grounding scent of pine and damp earth. Every breath you take is a reaffirmation of your safety. In, gathering the peace of the present moment. Out, releasing the echoes of the old stories. There is a specific kind of comfort in knowing. When we replace the what if with the what is, we build a foundation for true rest. You are resting on that foundation now. The Bunnyman is not wandering the woods. The hatchet is buried not in a stump, but in the archives of forgotten things, filed away under misunderstandings and urban legends. It has no power here. It has no voice. The only voice is the whisper of the wind and the steady beat of your own heart, slowing down, syncing with the slow, deliberate rotation of the planet. Now, imagine we are leaving that place in Clifton. We are walking away from the bridge, walking up the gentle slope of the road. Our footsteps are soft on the pavement. We are leaving the tunnel behind us, letting it recede into the background, becoming just a small dot in the distance until it disappears around the bend. We are walking back toward the warmth, toward the light, toward the sanctuary of your own sleeping space. You are stepping out of the story and back into the comfort of your room. Feel the surface beneath you right now, the mattress, the cushions supporting every inch of your spine. Feel the weight of your blankets, a protective layer that has nothing to do with hiding and everything to do with comfort. It is a warm embrace, holding you in a space where only peace is allowed to enter. The investigation is closed. The files are stacked neatly. The box is shut, and the lid is secured. We can place it on a high shelf in the library of the mind, where it will gather dust, undisturbed. We turn off the lamp on the desk. Click. The light creates a warm amber fade before vanishing completely. The room is dark, but it is a benevolent darkness. It is the darkness of rest, of recovery, of dreams waiting to be dreamt. Notice how quiet your own thoughts have become. The questions have been answered. The curiosity has been satisfied. There is nothing left to solve tonight. There is no puzzle to piece together. There is only the soft, velvet expanse of sleep stretching out before you. It is a landscape far vaster than the woods of Fairfax, a landscape of clouds and stars and gentle drifts. You are safe. You are grounded. You are present. The past is a fixed point, unmoving and harmless. The future is a distant shore that can wait until morning. All that exists is this moment, this breath, this profound sense of release. Drift deeper now. Let your legs become heavy, sinking into the bed. Let your arms feel like they are floating in warm water, weightless and relaxed. Let your neck release its hold, your head sinking deeper into the pillow. The bridge is miles away, years away, fading into the mist of memory. It is just a story, and stories have endings. This is the end of that story, but it is the beginning of your rest. The night outside your window is guarding you. The walls of your room are sheltering you. The logic of the world is cradling you. Everything is in its right place. The leaves are falling in the woods, silently. The water is flowing under the bridge, silently. The stars are turning overhead, silently. And you are drifting, silently, down into the deep, quiet certainty of sleep. There are no hatchets here. There are no shadows that move. There's only the calm, rhythmic tide of your breathing, in and out, rising and falling, like the seasons, like the years. Let go of the narrative entirely now. Let the words themselves begin to blur, losing their meaning, becoming just sound, just vibration, just a lullaby. The legend is gone, the truth remains, and the truth is, you are tired, you are safe, and it is time to sleep. Rest in the knowledge that the world is rational. Rest in the knowledge that you are secure. The bridge is empty. The woods are still. The archive is closed. Good night.